Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new topic in physics, that is heat transfer. So concentrate yourself. This is important topic. Thermal energy is the total kinetic energy of the molecules in a body. Very important line. Heat transfer takes place only when there is a difference in the temperature. And other very important point. Heat is transferred from high temperature region to low temperature region. Example is bodies A and B are in contact. Body A is at higher temperature than body B, and so A loses heat at a rate higher than the rate at which it absorbs heat from B. This causes a temperature drop in body A and an increase in the temperature in body B. Finally, the two bodies have the same temperature. The three methods of thermal energy transfer is conduction, convection, and radiation. Now we are going to start the topic convection. Convection is the process by which heat is transmitted from one place to another by the movement of the heated particles of the fluid that can be a liquid or a gas. When thermal energy is applied to a region of a fluid, it expands. The region is now less dense than the surrounding and therefore rises. The other cooler regions of the fluid, being denser, sinks to replace the less dense fluid. This movement of the fluid due to difference in the density set up convection current. So these are very important concepts of the convection. These concepts will be used to answer the questions. Read it again. When thermal energy is applied to a region of the fluid, it expands. The region is now less dense than the surrounding fluid and therefore rises. The other cooler regions of the fluid, being denser, sinks to replace the less dense fluid. This movement of the fluid due to difference in the density set up convection current. Do you know? Convection helps to make the earth livable by removing excess heat from the surface and transporting it high up in the atmosphere. It has been calculated that without convection, the average surface air temperature on Earth would be about 52 degrees C, rather than the current average of 15 degrees C. Do you think humans can survive in an environment with such a high average temperature? That is almost impossible. Convection current. Convection currents are flowing of a fluid or gas caused by a change in the density. Very important concept of the convection is caused by a change in the density in which the whole medium moves and carries heat energy with it. Here is a figure. Warm, less dense air rises and colder, more dense air sinking. This is the process in convection current. Convection currents occurs only in fluids. This is another very important concept of the convection. Convection current does not take place in solids because solids are not a fluid. This is because convection involves the bulk movement of the fluid which carry heat energy with them due to a change in the density. And now we are going to read some examples. Convection current drives. Figure shows a simple domestic hot water system. Convection current drives the hot water up from the boiler to the storage tank, while colder water flows down the boiler. So this is the simple household hot water system. Very important question. How are winds formed? The answer is the sun can cause very large convection currents of the air. This flow of the air is wind. In daytime, the land has a higher temperature than the sea. The warm air rises over the land because of the high temperature, and cool air falls over the sea. So we feel a breeze from the sea. This is the process which occurs during nighttime and daytime. In daytime, sea breeze flows because land is hotter than the sea. Air above the land will get less dense and rise, and cooler air will move from the sea to the earth. And in night time, the reverse process will take place. Land will get colder, and sea water will still be hotter than the land. Air above the sea will rise, and cooler air from the earth will move towards the sea. So this is how the winds moves. Rising air over the land is convection current and is used by glider pilots and weather balloons to keep their gliders and balloons in the sky, and birds like seagulls to stay airborne. Another example is ventilation. Cold fresh air enters a house through the open doors, windows, and air holes. The air in the house is warmed by heat from the human bodies, lighted bulbs, and fire in the kitchen, etc. Warm air rises and escapes through the air holes at the top. So this is how convection current takes place inside the house and house keep cool. Another question is, why is the heating coil of the electric kettle placed near the bottom of the vessel? The answer is, the heating coil of an electric kettle is always placed at the bottom of the kettle as shown. This is the process. The heating coil will always be placed at the bottom of the kettle. Now explanation is, when power is switched on, the water near the heating coil gets heated up, expands, and becomes less dense. The heated water therefore rises while the cooler region in the upper part of the body of the water descends to replace the heated water. That's how the convection current takes place in the kettle and the water warm uniformly. And other question is, what would happen if an air conditioner is positioned near the floor instead of the ceiling? The explanation of the question is the same. The rotary fan inside the air conditioner forces cool dry air out into the room. The cool air, being denser, sinks, while the warm air below, being less dense, rises and is drawn into the air conditioner where it is cooled. So this is how convection current takes place inside the room, and the full room will get cool because of the air conditioner. In this way, the air is recirculated and temperature of the air falls to the value preset on the thermostat. And other question is refrigerator. So same process will take place in refrigerator as of the kettle, as of the air conditioner unit. Refrigerator work in the very much the same way as air conditioner. The freezing unit is placed at the top to cool the air so that the cold air being denser sinks while the warm air at the bottom rises. So convection current takes place in this way in the refrigerator and things cool. This sets up convection current inside the cabinet which helps to cool the content inside. Another question is, an experiment is carried out as shown in the diagram. And this is the diagram. Why does the ice takes long time to melt? Even though the air at the top of the tube is boiling. So look here, the top of the tube air is now boiling, but ice will take more time to melt. The answer is A. Explanation is, since the water is heated at the top, the heat energy is forced to travel downward by conduction. It takes a long time to melt the ice because water is a poor conductor of the heat. The convection does not occur in the water below the heat source because the water on the top of the tube is less dense now and the below water is more dense now. So convection current is very slow to take place inside the tube. The heat can pass to the ice only through the conduction and air molecules being the poor conductor, so ice will take much more time to melt. And other question is here, density changes are responsible for which method of the thermal energy transfer? So this is the basic concept of the convection. Convection takes place because of the density changes. So B part is the answer, convection only. Density changes cause the bulk movement of the fluid resulting in convection. Conduction is about collision between the molecules and radiation involves infrared radiation. And other question is here. A teacher has a large metal tank of the water in which he wants to set up convection current. Which of the following arrangement would do this? So here are some points. So if we want to take place convection current inside the tank, we have to cool Z point or Y point so that the density of the water is more, so it can sink, and this colder water being the lighter density move up. This is one process, cool Y or Z or heat up Y. So these can be the answer. So cooling at X, this is not right option. Cooling at Y, this is right option. Heating at Y, wrong answer. Heating at Z, wrong answer. So cooling at Y is the right option. So B option is the right. Cooling the water at Y will cause the water at Y to become more dense and start sinking to the bottom. This pushes the less dense lower part up. Exam tip for you students. Candidates should realize that the cold water sinks and warm water floats because of the lower density of the warm water. A question is here. What would happen if an air conditioner is positioned near the floor instead of the ceiling? So if the air conditioner is placed near the floor than the ceiling, the convection current will be difficult to take place, because if the air conditioner is placed near the floor, the air near the floor will get more dense and the air above the floor will be lighter dense. So convection current will be hard to take place. So room will take much more time to get cool. So air conditioner should be placed near the ceiling than the floor. That's why the convection current will be easy to take place and room will get cool in lesser time. So this was the topic. Read it again very carefully and make your notes. Thank you so much.